When I'm not deeply analyzing the word cloud that I had made from the comment section, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Throughout our guitar playing lives, we all have certain things we wish we could do or play. Over time, these may change as we improve. At the moment, what is your thing you wish you could do or play on guitar? One of my absolute favorite phrases to yell at little children is, "A dream without a plan is a wish." So I really kind of think that that's true on guitar. You know, if you have anything that you wish you could play, just practice and you'll be able to play it. So I'm going to amend this question to what I wish I could play on guitar, but have absolutely zero desire to ever try and practice. And that is going to be becoming a tap god. Something, you know, I remember when I first kind of figured out how tapping works, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I tried doing it for like 10 minutes and I was like, you know, I really don't ever want to practice this ever again. So I wish that I could just wake up one day and magically have like one of those 8-string Ibanez's and just be tapping and sliding all over just like an absolute monster. Because I think it's fun, it has a cool sound. To me, for what my tastes are, it's not really something that I think I would do seriously, but I think it would be fun to just kind of like roll on up somewhere where I was not invited to play and just start tapping away like an absolute maniac. So please, leave in the comments some stuff that you wish you were good at guitar. Rock guitar legends can barely tell you what chord they're playing. This guy, on the other hand, kind of embodies everything wrong with guitar players today. All brains and no soul. I can't think of two better words to embody the modern guitar player than all brains. Also, this salty comment was taken from like an introductory lesson on how to use like the major scale. I can't. For the next Q&A, what are your top 3 favorite keys to simply play in major and or minor? Great question. I believe A major is my favorite key to play in because of the openness, the open sound that you can get. Again, just kind of play like an A major chord, but don't like bar it, leave the B and E string open. And just do that with all the chords in that key. And you get like some really cool, pretty open sounding. I believe it was actually Joe Pass who said that A major is the prettiest key to play in, right? So A major I think is probably my favorite key to play in. F major would be my second favorite key because that is the key that my voice kind of fits best in. And then even though I am a bit of a contrarian, I will go ahead and say that A minor is probably my third, just because A minor pentatonic is what, you know, I was born and raised on. So I do think that knowing specifically what keys your voice is good, if you have any kind of ambitions to sing and play at the same time, or if you're playing with singers, that is something that everybody should know kind of where your wheelhouse is, and that may be true of different keys for sure. But once I started paying more attention to that, I kind of feel like I actually became a better singer, even just because I was able to take what I could do and then emphasize solid notes. So definitely, this is a question that you should probably ask yourself, even if you're not a singer or whatever. Just kind of what your favorite keys are, what, you know, be a little more thoughtful about maybe the key that you're in, that you're playing in, as far as like playing lead stuff. Like that. I always thought of, because I did learn the pentatonic scale stuff first and had no idea how to apply it, I still kind of think of lead playing as like finding what key I'm in, finding the minor pentatonic, and then branching out from there with like arpeggios and stuff like that. But definitely knowing what some of your go-to keys are is very important. This dude is really sarcastic. He makes everyone feel stupid like he's the only genius in music. A second salty comment of the week. And that's not true. I'm really one of 3 or 4 geniuses in music. What are some substitute chords for the 7 in a progression? I know on the 5 you can use a dominant 7 chord, for example, but what can you substitute a diminished chord with to give a different flavor or tension? Thank you very much. So one thing everybody should know is that I'm completely self-taught. So I get a lot of these music theory questions like, what should you do? What's often done? Stuff like that. A lot of times I don't even know what's often done. I just know what I do. So when we talk about the 7th degree in a scale, right? So if we're in the key of C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, that 7th note, the B becomes a diminished chord, a half diminished chord. So if you're in the key of C, something like that, the traditional way to play it, what should go on that 7th chord is a diminished triad, or a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So if you're playing something like C, A, G, and you want to go to the 7 chord, you can use that minor 7 flat 5 chord. But again, not a lot of people use that. In certain genres, you don't really see a lot of half diminished chords, stuff like that. So what can you use instead of that? A substitution chord. One thing that I do a lot is I almost think of the 7th degree of a key as just another place for a minor chord, specifically a minor 7 chord, right? So since B can become a minor 7 flat 5 chord, if you just take the flat 5 just to make it a shorter word, that becomes a minor 7 chord. Okay, so you can add a B minor 7 into any progression in C, and I think it sounds fine, right? Like if you're playing C, A minor, G. That didn't sound so bad. Again, that was B minor 11, but like B minor 7 to C, I think that's totally fine. So I would say, if you don't like the sound of half diminished chords, just put a minor 7 chord on there, or just a minor chord, and add B minor into the key of C and just use it as an extra chord that you can kind of play around with, okay? Another thing, and specifically what I taught in that forgotten minor 7 flat 5 chord video, was using it as a transitional component to get back to the 1. So what that means is, like, if we're going from an A minor to a C, we can kind of play that half diminished chord in between. I think another thing that you could do if you're going back to the 1 chord specifically is turn that 7th degree into another major chord, because it kind of adds a lot of tension, and that question was kind of asking about like tension, right? So if we have like a C to a G, right, that B major right there, I think is kind of something cool that you could use. Also, too, a dominant 7 chord on the 7th degree is something that I also find kind of interesting, okay? And a lot of that is just because of that, minor 7 interval that is traditionally in a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So again, really, as far as like please, if someone who is way more educated in like traditional or like jazz chord progressions and substitutions, please leave a comment below, because I don't have a lot of traditional experience with that. It's just what I think sounds good. But I also think that that's another thing that you should be thoughtful about, to kind of find your own voice as a player, just to try different chord shapes on that 7th note if you're looking for substitutions, because that's how I've found all my substitutions. And it's not like I'm inventing any of this. I know a lot of this probably is common knowledge, but it's stuff that I just accidentally stumbled upon through trial and error. And what sounds good to me is like, I'm not totally unique in that. It's like, oh, I'm not the first person to use a dominant 7 chord on the 7th degree and go back to 1. But that is something that I organically discovered by just cycling through chord shapes and putting them on different scale degrees. So again, I think that's one of the best, kind of tools that you can have in your musicianship to develop your ear, is just by cycling through those chord progressions and then just finding the ones that you like. And, just tell people that you invented it, and you'll sound like an absolute genius. So for listening homework, we're going to throw you to the ultimate bluesman, John Lee Hooker, which actually one of my subs, T-Bone, sent me some CDs for my birthday. Also, shout out to my man D-Spear. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your last name right. You should probably educate me on that. And Cheddar for hooking me up with some birthday swag. And definitely, if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.